when you're in your late 20s or early 30s and you feel like when you look back, you squandered it. I got news for you, bro. You didn't waste it because it's already gone.
You have to try to tackle one problem at a time. Find a job, get some money in your pocket.
Off top, Rich, we're gonna do a 4-week, 30-day game plan to get them in motion, get them out of this rut. And I want to kick it off, and we'll do it like a draft. I'll go first, you'll go second.
Yeah, let's do
The
it.
one thing I want to say is forget about week 1. I'm gonna start at week 0. Week 0 is what you got going on in your mind. I think that shit is crucial. There's 3 things I want to touch on, and I'm interested to hear your feedback, and then you can go next, Rich.
Cool.
1, you have to relieve yourself of the victim mentality. Even if you are, trust me, I know reality is crazy. People come from fucked up situations. Rich and I know that very well because we didn't come from the best circumstances. But 1, you have to get rid of that victim mentality. You have to free yourself of that because I feel like you can't move forward if you always see yourself as a victim and you tell yourself that story.
Yeah, 100% agree. That's a great starting point. It's not a great starting point. It should be the only starting point.
Along with the victim mentality, I want to compound my number 1 with, this is going to sound woo-woo, magical, self-belief, motivation. I promise you, Rich and I enjoy a good motivational video, but we take action. And I want to put these 2 things together. You have to believe that whatever it is that you see for yourself is actually possible. Now, I'm going to pair that with action because that can be a very empty-ass suggestion. If I just tell you, all right, I have negative balance on my bank account, my girl left me, I lost my job, I'm in my mom's house, and I'm in my fucking 20s. What you mean I gotta believe? Easy killer. I'm saying you have to believe because when you remove the victim mentality, there has to be something in there that you see beyond what you see in the mirror at that moment. So belief is so important that you can actually get out of this situation. I think belief with some action is huge in week 0. Again, this is week 0, not week 1, because you don't need money, you don't have to do anything. It really is a mindset thing. And I think those 3 things are so important for me, Rich. I was writing down all these things they could do. They could get a job, they could text their friends, go out with their friends, get a haircut. I'm like, nah, bro, it really starts with a mindset.
You know, not to say that those things are not important because honestly, bro, getting some money and having a job is going to set the foundation for every other improvement. I got 2 for week 1. and
Okay.
These are crucial. 1 is going to summarize your week 0. You have to try to tackle one problem at a time. You got no job, you got no girl. You have to pick one to tackle. You're not going to solve them all in the next 4 weeks, 8 weeks, or whatever.
That's
right?
a big problem, right? Because when you get overwhelmed,
You can't find solutions if you're overwhelmed, and then you're trying to juggle too much. You already feel stuck, so you shouldn't be trying to juggle a lot. So week 1, my advice is find a job, get some money in your pocket. That is going to set the foundation for every other improvement that you have to make. Well, what do I mean? How does me having a job and get money um create the foundation? Now you can pay for shit, right? You can pay for a gym membership. You can pay for a haircut that's going to make you feel good. You can buy yourself some clothes. You can take a girl out on a date. You can do all these things that can get you out of this rut, but it really starts with you having some money.
no, I love that one. And I'm going to leave the money portion of this 4-week game plan to you because if there's anyone I know that gets active with the side hustle game, a lot of people don't know this about you, Rich. Your side hustle game was insane when we were younger. You were always about passive income, side income. Can you please share with our listeners a lot of the eBay shit? Like there was a lot of things you did when we were younger that a lot of people in our age group, especially in the hood, were definitely not thinking of. That's more common now.
Yeah, I mean, listen, back in the day, we were all making minimum wage, working 2, 3 part times, and it just wasn't enough. And I kind of always just figured out ways to make some side income through like retail arbitrage. So I would just buy shit at a discount, whether Marshalls, TJ Maxx, or even like a thrift store, And I had a keen sense for finding things that I feel like would go more online or just not easily accessible to someone who's like not in from the East Coast, right? And through a lot of research, a lot of dedication, I was able to make a lot of side income and to supplement the income that I was already making. And that just I can't stress this enough, bro. Like having money definitely alleviates a lot of the stress that you can be putting on yourself when you don't have it, because like I said, it sets the foundation to solve a lot of other problems.
At that time, that was an action by necessity, right? Like you weren't looking to get rich flipping shit on eBay, making $10 to $20 per transaction. I don't even know how much you make after all the fees and the shipping and packaging, but that came from necessity because you had to solve your problem. And I think that's important for someone like you said. That what's the fastest way to eat a steak? One bite at a time. There's no way that you can just eat a whole steak in one sitting with one bite. I don't know anyone that would have done that at that time. And I just want to make it clear that came from necessity. You were just trying to figure out from point A to point B, not from point A to point Z.
Yeah, and my situation is might be a little different than another 20-year-olds, right? Like I was having a child at 24 years old. Like I was 2 years into community college trying to, so I was on the right track, but I knew it wasn't going to be enough. Whatever I was making at the time wasn't going to be enough. I was a full-time student, I was working full-time, and I had this new baby on the way. It just wasn't going to be enough, and I had to figure out a way to kind of supplement my income and make sure that when my child did arrive, that there was going to be enough bread for me to, uh enough bread for me to share with my child. And it, like you said, bro, it came out of necessity, not so much luxury. Like I wasn't going out buying sneakers with this shit. Like I was stacking bread from like my newborn child.
I think that brings up another point. This is probably more actionable advice, but it wouldn't make sense if I mentioned it later in the show. So I'm going to mention it now. There's a phrase that I love, and it's you can't fake urgency. Simple analogy is if you ever watch sports or an MMA fight, if a fighter is down 4 rounds to 0 and he's going into the fifth round, he knows that. And he's going to go in there like an animal with his back against the wall. You can't fake urgency. Game 7 of any basketball game you've ever watched, and you've seen some superhuman athletes, whether it be LeBron, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Jalen Brunson, they do things that they didn't even know they were capable of because they know it's elimination time. I don't want to make everything a sports metaphor, but I just want to make it clear to anybody who does watch sports. That urgency, you can't fake it. Rich having a kid and not having enough money to fill the gap between how much money he makes with a side job created all this cyclone of thoughts and pain and Googling shit and being on Reddit back then. Enough for you to go and do some obscure next, bro. No, I don't know anybody that did that. I know you didn't get that. I know you didn't get that from anybody in your social circle. You just thought to yourself, how do I solve this problem? And I want to make this point clear as a word of advice. Sometimes you got to let that pain sit in a little bit. Sometimes you got to listen to that pain. Pain is not only something that lives in your mind rent free, but it's also a fortune teller. If you really sit down and listen to your pain, you can think to yourself, what is it that's causing this pain? And how do I solve it? And in that moment of thinking, how do I solve it? Don't just sit there. That's when you take action. So I want to be clear with our community. We feel you. I know what that pain feels like, but pain is a fortune teller. You can see your future through that pain if you really listen to it. Now, don't sit in the pain, take action, obviously, but you know what I mean? Let that desperation be your guide. That's something that it's so nuanced, Rich. I don't know how to tie it into a pretty bow, but I feel like that shit is crucial. And whenever we talk about our stories when we were younger, I feel like that's something that we glaze over because we get to the end of the story when the referee's holding our hand up and we have the championship belt and we miraculously knocked out the guy who was beating us for 4 rounds and we won the fight. But nobody talks about you sitting in that corner and being like, damn, my face is bloody. I'm getting my ass whooped by life. And it's about to be the 5th round, so I know I'm going to lose. I got to do whatever to stay in this fight. Fuck winning the fight, just staying in the fight. And I think that's the way pain feels when you're in your late 20s or early 30s and you feel like when you look back, you squandered it. I got news for you, bro. You didn't waste it because it's already gone. You're living right now, in this moment right now. So you can sit and commiserate about the past and listen to this show feeling bad about yourself. This is the only episode I would recommend you shut the fucking podcast off, you stop the YouTube video right now, and you just get to it, bro. You get to it. Hit pause, come back. I'm willing to forego you never listening to another episode of our podcast just so you can take care of this problem because it's so urgent. When that urgency shows, take action, bro.